Hello children, welcome back. This video is for class 11 of the subject English Literature, and today we are going to see the poem The Gift of India by Sarojini Naidu. I'm sure everybody knows that Sarojini Naidu was also called the Nightingale of India. So before I start this poem, I would like to tell that the following video is not intended to hurt the sentiments of anyone. It is a simple explanation of the poem The Gift of India by Sarojini Naidu. Now let us see about the poem, a bit introduction about it. Literature has glorified wars and war heroes since a very long time. Many writers and poets have justified war by praising and romanticizing the war heroes. For several years, people regarded war as a manly effort. This notion was, however, shattered in the beginning of the 20th century when the horrors of the First World War left its mark on the human civilization. You know, you must have gone through so many poems in which many of the poets and the writers they have always glorified, they show how proud the people are to take part in war, because of their patriotic feelings towards their country. But later on, because of all those ill effects of the wars, the poets, they started writing the poems. Now on all those stories or the poems now were giving the explanation that how these wars have affected the human civilization, and the innumerable death, the damage and destruction of life and property, the violence with which men killed each other, and the new weapons and chemicals that were exposed to humanity turned the gift of nature into a wasteland where ashes were found in place of flowers and blood in place of holy water. So children, you also know this, after the attack of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, there were lots of destruction, how the human human beings, how they were affected. Even we can find those traces of the bomb blast. So these were the side effects of war. And of course, we all know that war is really not a solution to sort out problems. Now, in this poem, too, the horrors of war are depicted vividly. The theme of patriotism is the most evident theme in the poem. This theme of patriotism for the motherland runs in a lot of other poems by Sarojini Naidu. This poem is a tribute to the martyred Indian soldiers who gave up their lives in wars fought by the British during the First World War. Since the very beginning of the poem, this theme of patriotism is predominant. Now, let us see the poem. This is the first stanza, and the very first two lines of this stanza is there. Oh, okay, before I start this poem, let me just tell you one thing. This particular poem, if the question is who is the author of the poem or who is the narrator, then you will say Sarojini Naidu. But if the question is who is the speaker of the poem, then the answer is Mother India. Okay, so the poem, each and every line, is referred, or you can say is spoken by Mother India. Sarojini Naidu has given her words, which expresses the feelings of India, the Mother India. So these particular lines, all the lines in the poem are on behalf of Mother India. So this line is there aught you need that my hands withhold? With rich holes, rich gifts and raiment, or grain all gold? Now here the speaker, Mother India, addresses the erstwhile Britisher who ruled India. The Britishers snatched away many precious things from Mother India, her precious clothes, grains and gold. So this question Mother India is asking to the Britishers. Now see the next line of the first paragraph. Lo, I have flung to the east and west priceless treasures torn from my breast, and yielded the sons of my stricken womb to the drumbeats of duty, the sabres of doom. Now here the Mother India is telling, but the most precious gifts that they snatched away were the priceless lives of the Indian soldiers who fought for their masters in distant foreign lands from east to west. These soldiers listened to the call of their duty when the drums of war were beaten. They fought bloody wars with their weapons even without knowing that what was the cause and why were they fighting. So now to understand this particular first stanza, I just give you a small summary. Now it is that these lines, we must look at the India's history, especially the time around which this poem was written. Now it was 1915, in the middle of the World War I, when India was still under the British rule. A lot of Indian soldiers employed in the British forces fought in the World War. The poem can be seen as the poet's homage for these soldiers under the British rule. India was exploited for its riches and resources. Here the poet acknowledges this fact. The very first line of the poem shows India's sentiment of anger and the question, is it not enough that I have given everything? The words sabres of doom especially catch our attention. They represent the nature of the war and the devastation it leaves behind. Okay, so in the first stanza, Sarojini Naidu is simply telling, in the first two lines, she is questioning to the Britishers that is there anything else you want apart from this, because you have taken everything. And in the second, she is telling that what was the most precious thing which you have taken. It is the soldiers, okay, of India. Now let us see the second paragraph. Gathered like pearls in their alien graves, silent they sleep by the Persian waves, scattered like shells on Egyptian sands, they lie with pale brows and brave broken hands. Now here the poet offers a brilliant image by similes to commemorate the sacrifices made by those Indian soldiers during World War I. The soldiers, who were as valuable as pearls, were killed and buried in graves by the shores of Persia, which is now in Iran. The soldiers who laid down their lives in Egypt were found scattered on sands as shells are found scattered on sands. Just imagine how the dead bodies of the Indian soldiers were lying all over Persia and all over Egypt. Now they lay dead, their dead being signified by pale brows and their bravery by broken hands. Pale brows is the yellowish color, when the human body, we know that human body, the blood always runs all over the body. If there's no blood, somebody dies because of, when these are soldiers who are fighting in the war, they died. Now when they died, the body became yellowish in color. That was the pale brows and the broken hands. It was all the damages caused due to the war. Now in the next line, they are strewn like blossoms mown down by chance on the blood-brown meadows of Flanders and France. Now in this line, it's a beautiful image where the poet compares the dead soldiers to the flowers that are cut down without any plan and that remain scattered and uncared for. This is what happened to the Indian soldiers whose dead bodies were left unattended on the grassy fields of Flanders, which is in Belgium, and in France. Now the blood of the soldiers colored the fields red because it is the meadows. What is meadows? The green the green place, the area where the grass is totally green, that is the meadows. So Sarojini Naidu here, she's referring that when the Indian soldiers went to the war and when they were killed, because of the blood, the green color meadow turned totally red or brown because of the blood of the soldiers. Now again here, I'll give you a small summary of this particular second paragraph. Now in the second stanza of The Gift of India, the speaker, Mother India, shows the sacrifice of the Indian soldiers from a different angle. These brave soldiers who fought and gave up their lives are buried in mass graves in the foreign countries where they died. They were away from their homeland, and even their bodies did not get the comfort of finally resting in their own motherland. So this happened with the Indian soldiers when they fought on the foreign land, because of course whatever we know that India is a traditional country where it's we believe in culture. So of course when a person died, we believe that he should be buried, or the ritual should be done in their hometown. But unfortunately to these people, to those Indian soldiers who went for the war, they were in a foreign country, so they could not get their motherland. Okay, so this is what all those sad parts Sarojini Naidu is trying to bring through this poem. Now we'll see the third stanza of this poem. The first lines: can ye measure the grief of the tears I weep, or compass the woe of the watch I keep, or the pride that thrills through my heart's despair, and the hope that comforts the anguish of prayer? Now in these lines, here the speaker, means Mother India, she asked those British rulers that if they could ever measure the tears of her grief and know the extent of her woes at the deaths of her brave sons. Of course, just for example, that if a mother knows that her child is no more, how painful it is for her. But here Mother India is talking about so many children, so many soldiers. So she's just asking a question to those people, that can you really measure that how painful it is for me, that when I know that my children are dead. Then she asked that if they could even know the extent of her pride over their bravery, the pride that makes her forget her despair. She asked again that if they could keep the hope in her heart that comforts the anguish of her prayer. Means there are two things over here in this particular 4 lines. There are two things. One is that she is very sad because she has lost her son. But the second is she is also proud because those soldiers are her son. So she's proud that my brave soldiers, they have died for their country. So this is one feeling of proud which she has. But one sad is also the sad part is also there, that she has lost her son. Okay. Now see the next lines of this particular stanza. And the far sad glorious vision I see of the torn red banners of victory. Now here, as I told you in the previous lines, that she has a mix of feelings when she thinks of sacrifice of her great heroes. Now here she has a sad vision of the bloody flag wavering, proclaiming victory. Now the soldiers died, but they have won the victory for their masters. Of course, they have sacrificed their life. Okay, so they have won, but that victory, the banner, you can say the flag which you can see, it is reddish flag, which has turned into red. Why? Because of the blood of her soldiers, of her son. So she is feeling sad about that. So this was the third paragraph. Okay, now I'll just give you a small summary of this. Now, in this third stanza, the speaker talks to the foreign countries. She asks them if they can measure her grief and her tears or know her woe, her sufferings when she watches all these. All these is the soldiers, her son who have died. Okay, she says that they can never measure the pride that thrills through her heart in spite of her despair. Why she is proud? She is proud because she has given birth to so many brave soldiers who are ready to sacrifice their life just for their country. Okay, so this was the third paragraph. Let us see the fourth stanza. The first lines: when the terror and the tumult of hate shall cease and the life be refashioned on anvils of peace. Now here, this is the last paragraph, and in the very first, Sarojini Naidu, here she is now concluding what she is expecting over here. She is expecting on a note of a hope. Now what is it? That a day is not far when this violent, feeling of hate, that is war, will come to an end and life would be peaceful and normal again. Now she is expecting over here that there will be definitely a peaceful country to live, where people will not fight. There won't be any war among the countries. So she is expecting that there will be another birth of new India, where the pillars will be the peace. Okay, so she is referring that she expects a new beginning without violence, without hatred. There will be only peace. See the next lines. And your love shall offer memorial thanks to the comrades who fought in your dauntless ranks, and you honor the deeds of the deathless ones. Remember the blood of my martyred sons. Now here, the speaker is hopeful that the bravery of the Indian soldiers would be remembered with gratitude. The brave acts of the dead Indian soldiers would be acknowledged and honored. The coming generations would remember those who laid down their lives in alien lands. So this is expectation of Sarojini Naidu in the last paragraph. She is simply expecting that those soldiers who have given away their lives, okay, you can say who has sacrificed their life for their country, should always be respected and remembered. Okay, so let us conclude with a small summary of the last paragraph. Now here the poet used a phrase on anvils of peace. Anvils is the pillars. On the pillar of peace, Sarojini Naidu expects to build a new nation. This implies that the process of getting life back to normal will not be an easy one, of course, but still she expects. It comments on the after effect of war in general. Okay, so now this was the poem. Let us see the theme. The poem Gift of India started as a celebration of India's contribution to the causes of others. Okay, now but it ends up as a strong war poem, concentrating both on the evils of destruction wars bring and the mourning, as well as the courage, honor, and recognition of the heroes who fight in it. As always, Naidu's poem arouses a sense of pride and patriotism in the hearts of the countrymen. It will be right to say that although Sarojini Naidu urges people to pay a tribute to the dead soldiers, she also successfully brings forward the cruelty, violence and inhumanness of wars. So as you can see, in the very beginning, the first paragraph was she was questioning the Britishers, okay, that what all they have done. This, because of this war, what all has happened. And in the second paragraph, she is telling what how this war has affected on India, what ill effects has the war had. And then in the third paragraph, again she is questioning to those people that can you really measure how painful it is? Can you imagine how painful it is to lose the son, or you can say to that my soldiers have given their lives. And in the last, she expects that the next building, the next nation, how it should be. It should be peace. There should be peace. She is totally against war, and she wants peace in the new generation, of course, and in the nation. Now, I hope that this video will be helpful to you. I just want you all to go through the poem line by line and read your workbooks also. It will be helpful to you. Any doubts, you can always clear it. Okay, thank you.